Imaswatagids, fellow Swazis. I mean, I'm just, I'm really bummed out about the Swazi situation. This is really getting out of hand. Excuse me. Somebody just mentioned that. In fact, it's not somebody. A lot of Swazis have been coming forward and saying that the king is a custodian of Swazi culture. He must be a custodian of Swazi culture, even in the new Swaziland, because we need a king. We need to remain a kingdom in Swaziland, because this is what Swazis want. Kokala, we have not had a mandate to decide whether what Swazis want a king or want to become a republic. Personally, meaning I want to become a republic. And the majority of Swazis that I know want to become a republic. They are tired of this royalty nonsense. I don't know why Swazis want to cling to royalty. If there's any Swazi out there that wants to cling to this nonsense, and that does not do anything for people of Swazi. I mean, literally nothing. Nkosie has never done anything cultural. So I don't understand how you can consider him an expert of Swazi culture. From where? Swazi culture was there before Nkosie, and Swazi culture will remain after Nkosie is long gone. I-culture phela akusikho nje ukuthi lisekwane umhlanga lisekwane umhlanga nanyakanyaka bathini sekwane umhlanga nale ingcwala. You see, that is not Swazi culture, really, honestly. So I'm quite honestly, I don't understand. Swazis are so accustomed to something that's being done by this criminal, King Mswati, above the law, and then call it culture. You're misleading the whole international community. That's why they're not going to support you, because you insist on keeping this guy who's above the law, committing some of the most heinous, despicable crimes against humanity that I've ever seen in the world. Nkosie murdered Swazis, and during Inkwala ritual ceremony, to so-called strengthen himself, and you call that culture. Nkosie goes into people's homes and kidnaps little children and forces them into marriages against their will. That is called rape. Okay? Even in Swazi culture, that is considered rape. Nkosie went and took Zena Mahlangu from school, somebody's child, from school, you know, without even informing the parent that, hey, by Swazi culture, you inform the in-laws and say, listen, I'm interested in marrying your daughter. I love your daughter. We have been talking. And I think we love each other. So I'm presenting a proposal to marry your daughter. So I'm asking, I am making a request to the family. That is Swazi culture. Imagine this guy, King Mswati, just goes into a school, outside the school, when Zena Mahlangu had just come out of school, just outside the school. He sent Ketuga and all these royal, so-called royal guards. They came and kidnapped this child and shoved her into a car that sped to El Tzitzin. You see, that is the most heinous, despicable crime against humanity, and kept Zena Mahlangu for days without even informing the mother that he had kidnapped the child from school. Zena Mahlangu's mother left her office where she served as an executive for the Post and Telecommunications, went to pick up her daughter as usual, and she did not find the child at school, and went home. The child was not at school. And she even said herself that was unusual. That was unusual. Unlike Zena Mahlangu, she always communicated with the mother by phone. She had a cell phone, and they used to communicate back and forth in arrangements how to get picked up at school. King Nkosie has never ever been a custodian of Swazi culture, and he never ever will be. He's the most evil man I have ever met in my life. So I don't understand the Swazis who come in and say we need a king and we need the royal family to be a custodian of Swazi culture. Where and how? No, these people are stealing and looting, and you call that Swazi culture. Selfishness and greed has never ever been Swazi culture. I'll tell you that much. You know, my family comes from a royal family in Swaziland. This despicable crimes against humanity is not my culture. It's not my family's culture. King Sopuza II comes from my family. I come from his family. This, what King Mswati is doing, is not Swazi culture. It has never been. You Swazis need to stop it. We are going to become a republic. We need to stop this nonsense for people to get paid for doing nothing just because they were born in this family. No, it's unacceptable. People must earn a living. King Mswati has never been a custodian of Swazi culture. He does the opposite, conscious Swazi culture. All this despicable crime. He steals even the retirement accounts of Swazis. He has no respect for Swazis. He says the country belongs to him and him alone. And do you think that's culture? You gotta be kidding me, people of Swaziland. What do you need from this guy? I just don't get it. You know? And you're misleading the whole international community to think we want this guy to remain a king, a constitutional monarch. No. We're going to have Swazis are going to speak and say what they want. Okay? The PPA, the sellouts, Bomlungis Makang, and all these people who say they want a king, that's what they've been told by this king. They're getting tenders and contracts from the king because that is what they've been bought. They're sellouts. I mean, King Mswati kills and slaughters people. He raised people's children. He steals and loots. There's not one good trait of King Mswati. So he's not a custodian of Swazi culture, and he's not going to be a custodian of Swazi culture. All the so-called reverends who say they're with the king, to do all this, continue on committing these crimes. He's taking all the money from the country. He's not even funding hospitals, going to Taiwan and all these other places for his own selfish healthcare needs. And this is what you want? People of Swaziland? Stop it. You're misleading the international community. That's why you're going to find yourself trapped in this position without making traction.